In software engineering, we are taking chapter number 34, project scheduling. Tracking progress for an object-oriented project. Now, in object-oriented project, the best way or the best framework is to use an iterative model, and the different milestone can be achieved, and that can be considered to be complete. That okay, this milestone, this milestone, this milestone, that is the tracking progress. So the technical milestone can be object-oriented analysis completed. That is the analysis part. So here the classes which we are going to employ and all the class hierarchy, we would have been defining it and reviewing it. The class attributes, each class attributes and operation have been defined and they are being reviewed. Then the class relationship, what relationship do the class have, hierarchy, etc. They have been established and reviewed also. And the behavioral model that has been created and reviewed, and the classes which we are reusing have also been noted down. So this marks the completion of the first milestone. So we can say that this first milestone is achieved, is completed. The second milestone will be the technical milestone of object-oriented design. So here the whole software will be divided, or the system will be divided into subsystem, and these subsystems, they are being divided and they are being reviewed. Then the classes are allocated to these subsystem which we have just defined and also being reviewed. Along with this, the task allocation, because the activity have to be decided and divided into the task, they are being done, and the responsibilities and collaborations have been identified. Also the attributes and operations, they are also being designed and reviewed, and the communication model between different parts, or you can say subsystems, this is also being created and being reviewed. Then comes the object-oriented programming milestone. So 2 milestones we have already completed. Now this means each new class we have actually coded it, implemented it, and the reuse library like the extracted class, this also have been implemented. The prototype or the increment is properly being built. Once this is done, the third milestone is completed. Then coming to the object-oriented testing. So the correctness and completeness of this object-oriented analysis and design models, this has been done. The CRC, that is the class responsibility collaboration network, this is developed and reviewed. The test cases are designed and the class level tests have been conducted for each class. Then the test cases are designed and the cluster testing is also completed and the classes are being integrated. And then the system level, final level of tests have been completed. This marks the end of the 4th milestone. This is how we track the progress of an object-oriented project. Scheduling for web application and mobile projects. So when we do the web and mobile app, we are talking it together. So this scheduling means distributing of estimated effort across the planned timeline, that is the duration, for building an increment. So these web app and mobile projects, they are built in increments, and the overall schedule is not made once. It evolves over a time. For example, the first iteration, there will be a macroscopic schedule, that is the big schedule, not going into the detail. So this will be developed, and this type of schedule will identify what? The web or mobile app increments and the projects, the dates on which each will be deployed. So the entry for this increment on the macroscopic schedule is then refined into a very detailed schedule to make the microscopic schedule. Here we make the task, these are identified and they are scheduled. For example, taking an example of a security system, let us call it as safehomeassure.com. So we will do the macroscopic scheduling first for an increment. Let us say it's an nth increment. So we can identify, first we have to identify what are the increments we are going to provide here. So 7 increments, let us say that we have identified 7 increments. For example, basic company and product information, detailed product information and downloads, that is you are going to buy from the company. So the company is doing that. Product codes and the processing product orders, then the actual design part, space layout and the security system design part. So these are 4 increments and we are talking about 7. So fifth will be information and ordering of monitoring devices and the services. And then we need to see also the buying part. So online control of monitoring equipment and then the accessing of account information. So don't go into the detail. I'm just saying that let us say these 7 increments have been finalized. This is the macroscopic schedule we have developed in order to track and schedule and control. So how to do this? See, these are 7 increments. First, we have to consult with the stakeholders and we have to develop a preliminary deployment schedule for all these 7 increments. That is why I'm calling it, it is a macroscopic schedule. So we will make a timeline chart. You know that is also called as a Gantt chart. So the deployment dates, you see here the diamonds. These are preliminary, very preliminary and may change as more detailed scheduling will do of the increment. Because these are 7 increments we have finalized. But the macroscopic schedule, it indicates management when content and functionality will be available and when will be the entire project complete. So as a preliminary estimate, the team will work to deploy, you see here on the 12th week timeline. And you also see here the 3rd and 4th and 7th. This is the 3rd one, 4th one and 7th one. These are some increments and these will be developed in parallel. That is same time. So now the team is ready to schedule work tasks. For every increment, we have to find out the task. How many tasks are required to actually work or complete this increment. So each framework action and the task can be adapted in different ways. One of the 4 ways actually. What you can do? You have chosen a task and this is applied. You have finalized it and applied. You can see the task and you say, no, this is not required for this increment and you just eliminate it. There may be some new task you want to add. So a new or a custom task is added. Or the task is refined into number of subtasks. That is, you see the task is very big and we can divide it into subtasks. So this becomes a part of a schedule. So these are the ways you can choose the task and discuss about the tasks. So don't go into the detail. I'm just saying that let us say that the 4th one, which is the design, the interface part of this so safe home assure.com we have taken. Now just consider this. And this was a macroscopic event or activity. Now, we would like to make the task for it. Okay. So the 4th increments start at 5th week and terminates at 9th week. So what can be the subtasks? So just don't worry about all these. I'm just saying that there are certain things which we have to do. Like making a page layout. Then, you have to review it. The space layout mechanism, drawing board layout, and then the procedural details for the graphical wall layout, wall length computation, display function, procedure detail for graphic window layout and graphic door layout, and then the selection of the system components like the sensor, cameras and microphones, and then the procedural details for the graphic layout for security system components, and then we have to conduct the pair walkthroughs as required. So these tasks, which are the actually main application part of that increment, will become the part of the increment schedule and they are allocated over the increment development schedule. So they can be input to any software, scheduling software like the Microsoft project, and then you can track and control. Earned value analysis. Now this EVA is a technique for performing quantitative analysis of progress. That is, the progress of your project can be estimated, can be numbered. Humphrey says, this EVA provides a common value scale for every task. It can be any kind of task. The total hours to do the whole project is first estimated, and every task is given an earned value based on its estimated percentage of the total. That is, you will get the duration and you will get the cost at particular point, particular juncture of your schedule. So earned value is a measure of progress. It is also a measure of percent of completeness. As I said, it gives us the quantitative analysis. Fleming and Koppelman, he argued about EVA that if your project has a schedule, say 100% is your schedule, when you reach 15%, just by then it starts giving you very accurate and reliable readings, the numbers of performance in terms of duration, cost, whether you are ahead, whether you are behind. So there are certain terms you need to understand. First thing is, this is the planned work. This is what we have planned. Okay, this is going to happen. Now, at particular time, say at this time, you want to assess where is your project. So the actual AC is where the actual cost is there, and the EV is showing actual work accomplished. Cost is money, work is person month. How much work is accomplished is EV. What the work actually is costing is AC, and PV is the actually planned cost, planned schedule, right? So this x-axis difference will give you the lag or the extension, and this time difference, okay, this gives you whether you are ahead of your project or whether you are at this point, whether you are behind the schedule. Okay, this graph is showing, or this earned value analysis is all about telling you duration or time and the schedule cost, that where you are. Okay, for that what you are going to do, see, we'll try to find out the index also, like the cost performance index and schedule performance index. So if these indexes are less than 1, that means you are either over budget or behind schedule. And if it is greater than 1, you are under budget or you are ahead of schedule. We'll take an example on this, and then you will understand all these terms and the way how it is done. There are certain steps to determine the earned value. First one, EV, we'll call it as BCWP. This is the budgeted cost of work performed. AC will be ACWP, actual cost of work performed. PV will be BCWS, budgeted cost of work scheduled. So BCWS is what? Budgeted cost of work scheduled. This is determined for each work task represented in schedule. So if you have task 1, task 2, like this task N, the different tasks in the schedule, okay, with different timelines, that where what will happen to when. So now this budgeted cost of work schedule is, you are talking about work in person hours or person days for each software engineering task, that is task 1, task 2 till task N. So you will try to find out all these costs, and then that is the effort, sorry, the effort. Now this BCWS is the effort, person month, person days. Now for each task I, you have to find out BCWSI. Okay, so now you are going to combine all of this. So BCWS will give you budget at completion, BSE, which is simply the addition of this BCWS. BCWS is budgeted cost of work schedule. That is what you have anticipated, what you have planned. Okay. Now next we'll compute the BCWP, budgeted cost of work performed. Work scheduled is done. Now you are going to find out work performed cost, not scheduled cost, performed cost. So PV is planning, the work with the schedule, and budget is the plan. AC is the actual result, which we are going to do later. But here we are trying to find out BCWP, that is the EV, which is the earned value. This is looking at the budget amount for the work performed. So the value of BCWP is computed just like BCWS, and BCWP is the sum of these BCWS values for all work tasks that have actually been completed by a point in time. You want to find out at certain time, these are actually been completed. So let me tell you about BCWS and BCWP. BCWS, this represent the budget of the activity that were actually planned to be completed. We have planned it. But BCWP, this represent the budget of the activities that are actually completed at that particular point. Okay, what is budgeted? What is completed? Now this we have BCWS, BAC and BCWP. You can find out the SPI, that is the BCWP by BCWS, and the schedule variance also BCWP minus BCWS. So these will give you certain indication, like the schedule performance index. If it is close to 1, everything is going fine. It indicates efficient execution of the project schedule. This SV, which is the schedule variance, is the absolute indication of variance from the planned schedule, whether you are ahead or whether you are behind. You can also find out the percent scheduled for completion using BCWS divided by BAC. Okay, this percent scheduled for completion you will get here. Now, as I said, the BCA, which is providing an indication of the percentage of work. Okay, now this BCWS we have already done, this sigma. I am saying that this is PV, and PV is nothing but budgeted cost of work schedule, and percent this complete is BCWP by BAC. Okay, now let us come to the actual cost of work performed, ACWP. So this is the sum of effort actually expended or invested on work tasks that have been completed by a point in time on the project schedule. This is the actual cost till that point. You have planned $180 dollars. This is the actual cost. So the cost performance index CPI can be computed by BCWP by ACWP, and cost variance can be computed by BCWP minus ACWP. And if this, again same thing, I will take an example. Okay, a CPI value close to this one, it shows the project is perfectly fine with respect to budget amount. Previously it was schedule, now it is talking about budget. So like the radar, it knows what is coming. So this EVA eliminates the scheduling difficulties before they are apparent. So this will enable us to take the corrective action before any kind of crisis comes or criticality develops. This is the earned value analysis. Let us take an example of earned value analysis. This is a project schedule. So we have 5 tasks: gather requirements, create design, build machine, test and refine, and roll out. And these needs to be completed in 14 days. And every task is given a time. Now we would like to find out what is the status of our schedule of our cost at the end of 8th day. How do we find it? So we have certain input values or input tables or inputs domain values. So we need to find out from here. It is already given activity or task. This is going for 3 days. Gathering requirement 3 days. And the cost for 1 day is 800. And the total cost is 2400. 8 3s are 24, so 2400. Likewise, all will come. Time is also given for each task, each activity. Cost per day is also given, and the total cost. Now you see this 700 for 4 days, 2800 total cost. But we'll just talk how much it is being completed. That is all earned value analysis we are going to do. Now there is one more table, and this is also input. Okay, at that time, after 8th day or at the end of 8th day, the total incurred cost is also given in the table, and this is also known what is the actual percentage completion. So build machine, if you see here, this is taking 4 days, but just 3 days happened, so only 3/4 work is completed, or 3/4 schedule is completed. Similarly, test and refine 1/4 we are taking only, because we are just trying to find out at the end of 8th day. So actual percent completion is also given. The gather requirement, create design is completed. This build machine, it is already given 50% complete, and test and refine 25% complete. Rollout will not consider because it is not all even started. Now this will be the table we are going to make for the earned value analysis. First thing, AC. That is how much this is AC, or this first thing is the total of cost supported in achieving work on the activity during a specified period. So this is the actual cost. Actual cost is what? You have to take, this is the total cost. So this is the incurred cost. So what is the actual cost? It is the incurred cost. So we are going to take the incurred cost. So this column we will take directly 2400, this one, okay? So this is 2400, 1500 and 2700 and then 700. I'm just taking the incurred cost, which will be our actual cost, right? See, rollout is not even in picture, so we'll give a 0 here. Now coming to EV. What is the EV? This is the value of work completed at a given time. This is actually the earned value. So what is the EV here? See, what actual work is being done before this time, end of the 8th day, EV. So how do we find it? See, the last column of the second table and the last column of the third table, that is the total cost, is this one, and actual percent complete is this one. So you will take the cost, multiply it with the percent, and you will write the value. 2400, 100% is complete. So what will be the value? 2400. So just write 2400 here. 1200, how much complete? 100%. So 1200. 3600, 50% complete. So 50% is half. That is going to be 1800. So now you can write 1800 here. Coming to the test and refine, which is 2800. 25% is complete. This is given in the table. So you can also find using the unit cost per day, but just take 2800 and 25%. That is going to be 700 and 0 for the rollout. Now what is the PV? This is the part of the approved cost estimate plan to be spent on the activity during a specified period. Okay. So what was planned? See, let us, though the first and second will not have any problem because they are already completed. So gather problem and create design. So just write the value 2400 and this is the cost, which is your 1200. Now come here. This is the 3600 cost. What you are going to write here? See, if you see, there are 3 days, 6th, 7th and 8th days. 3/4 part is what it should do or it should have done, whatever. Now, so you have to take the 3/4 of 3600, or 1 day cost is 900 and there are 3 days, 6, 7, 8 days. So 900 into 3 means multiply the 900 with 3. 9 3s are 27. So you can write 2700 here. Okay. Now same way you are going to do for the test and refine. Test only 1 day, 8th day. Okay. So 1/4. 1/4. Or you can do one more thing. You can just 1 day. So 700 is the cost per day and effort 1 day is 700. So just write 700 here. Okay. Now what you have to do? Just add all of these in column. So when you add this first column for AC, you will get 7300. Now coming to EV, when you add them, you are going to get 6100. PV, add them, you are going to get 7000. Now coming to CPI. CPI is computed using a relation which is EV by AC. Now you can do for each of the activity. That is also possible. But for example, to make the computation easy, I am just going to do the final one. That is the total. So CPI is EV by AC. EV total is 6100. AC total is 7300. So CPI will be 6100 divided by 7300, which is going to be 0.84. Okay. Similar way, CV will be found out. CV is what? It's EV minus AC. What is EV? Total is 6100. What is AC? 7300. So you can do by one also, row wise, but we are doing for the final. 6100 minus 7300, and that is going to be minus 1200. But you see it is a negative value. That means there is a problem. Negative means problem. SPI, these are going to give you index. CPI, SPI are index. So SPI is given by EV by PV. What is EV? EV total is 6100. What is PV? PV total is 7000. What do you get here? If you compute it, you are going to get 0.87. Just write it here, 0.87. Now coming to SV. SV is EV minus PV. I am just doing it for the total. So EV minus PV is going to give you, EV is 6100 and PV is 7000. So you're going to get negative 900. Again a negative value. That is again a problem. Okay. Now let us analyze the result. We have computed. You know how to compute now. See, this is 0.84. This is less than 1. That means, since it is less than 1, it means that you are over budgeted. At this point, at the end of 8 day, the project is over budgeted. If it would have been greater than 1, it is below budget. Now cost variance, negative 1200. That means, negative means you are over budget. So CPI, CV are showing the budget part. SPI now, 0.87. That is, it is again less than 1. And we are less than 1. That means you are behind schedule. You are behind schedule. And SV, again, negative 900. This is also talking about the negative values showing that there is a delay. There is a delay. This is how we analyze the results. Okay, this is all about this topic. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.